I'm very fortunate in that I have a very good memory, not only for wildlife things but for other stuff. We don't want to play me at Trivial Pursuit, but I think that's one thing. But I think it's more important as a naturalist actually to understand how all the knowledge fits together to give an understanding of the overview. And of course, what I hope to have in accompaniment with that is the enthusiasm to sort of impart the knowledge in an entertaining way. But I've got lots more to learn, and in fact, if I tell you, selfishly speaking, the best bit of my job is meeting people that know more than me, and I meet them all the time. This morning I was working with a man who knows more about fish than me. Yesterday I was working with a man who knows more about sparrowhawks than me. And you meet these people, and I've got enough knowledge to get started, and so they know they're talking to someone who's keen, and then I can just try and soak up more. So yes, sometimes it's not always the animal that's the best bit. It's the person that's telling me about it.
I don't think the BBC executives are listening, but I get the impression you'd pay them to do this job.
I'm one of the luckiest blokes on earth. I grew up as a kid, looking at stuff under the covers of my bed. Pictures of birds, pictures from my animal encyclopedias. I never dared dream that I'd get to meet these.
Hang on a minute, there's trouble arrived.
What are you talking about? What pictures did you have under your bed?
Well, I had these tea cards, and I used to look at these tea cards of birds of the world, and I never dreamed that I'd get to see them in real life. And I still sometimes, well, not sometimes, but relatively, regularly have to pinch myself and think, you lucky blighter.
You see, I have pictures under my bed, but they're of you, Kate.
You know how to charm a girl.
How are you doing? You've just done a great show. It was fantastic, no mistakes. You didn't fall off the air. You knew what you were saying. Marvellous.
Well, that's what you think, but I couldn't possibly comment. It was a good show tonight, and I mean, to be honest, and I don't want to sound disingenuous here, but the thing about Springwatch is that it's kind of nothing to do with me or Chris or Martin or Simon. It's all to do with the wildlife, and it's done us proud as ever. It does marvellous things for us every year, and every year we think, oh goodness, is our luck going to run out? Are we just not going to have anything? Are we going to turn up, particularly this year when it's quite late start, 31st of May, you think, crikey, is everything going to have fledged? Are we going to have anything to show at all?
Don't speak too soon, because it's going to absolutely pour down in a minute. It'll be washed away by tomorrow.
We haven't done just a week, so it could all go horribly wrong by next week, but yeah, it's just a joy to do, and every night we sit down at kind of 5 to 8 and go, right, what's going to happen? And we really don't know. We have a plan, but most of the time...
other thing, and again, well, I know this is going to sound creepy and cheesy and everything else, but the team, we've got an amazing team of people here. They've got a huge amount of energy for this, and they work tremendously hard, every single person. When I came to the programme last year, my greatest fear wasn't working with Kate, because her reputation had preceded her. It was that perhaps the team had maybe gone off the boil a bit, because they'd done 4 or 5 shows, but it's nothing like that. And
he's only saying this because we are about to go to the pub and he doesn't want to get around him.
It's true. Honestly, there's so much energy for it, and so much, everyone wants to give their absolute best. It's a real pleasure to work with these people.
I think it's a respect thing as well. Everybody knows you know what you're talking about, and that's so important, because this show wouldn't work if you were faking it.
Well, I think it's more about we're all discovering stuff at the same time, and we're discovering it at the same time as the viewers are discovering it. Now, I can't possibly say that I know everything. I absolutely don't. I'm learning something every single day. Chris knows a little bit. It's slightly scary sitting next to someone who's got a brain that size. But we won't make him any more big-headed. But no, I mean, I think that is the joy, as I say, of Springwatch. It's always unexpected. There's always something to learn, even if you've been, watching wildlife for as long as we both have. And, Chris has been sort of keeping things in tanks in his bedroom since he was, 3, horrifying his mum with kind of, beetles that disembowel
black... The caravan in a series of boxes, I'm not joking.
Honestly, that caravan, it's like the caravan of death. And
you should see my skull collection.
But, every day something happens, and then it's like, quick, get the books out, or is there any latest research? I mean, classic example was, last week with a bird that is so familiar to all of us. Wherever you live, everyone knows what a blue tit looks like, right? Springwatch favourite, we've featured them almost every year. And last week we saw that this adult blue tit was bringing into a box some bits of vegetation. We're like, what's all that about? And it was bringing in mint. And so, Chris goes away, digs out some, really weird, obscure...
French scientific... No, Italian was the bitterns. It's a French scientific scientific paper where these people have been studying, what the mint was in there for. Turns out it was for reducing the bacteriological fauna living on the skin of the chicks. And they've done all sorts of research which proves that mint in the nest leads to a higher fledgling rate.
And we just thought it was to make their breath fresh. So, you really do learn something every single week.
That's the best bit.
I think the most staggering thing today I've learned is that there is no script. I mean, that's literally you just making it up as you go along. Are there ever moments where you think, what am I meant to say next?
Yeah, there are moments that have happened quite frequently when we get completely carried away about one thing and then go, damn, what were we supposed to? But actually we just say that. It is live telly and it is experiential telly, if that makes it. I don't know, I'm sure that's a word, but I know what I mean. We're all experiencing it together. And frankly, if we get carried away and kind of forget something, it's not the end of the world. When we sit down, we have our cards, where we write down notes of roughly what the programme order is. And sometimes we go way off piste and you can hear the producers in our ear going, oh my goodness, where are they going? But that's part of the fun. And
show. It's not a programme and it's not a lecture. It is a show. So, it has to be entertaining, a bit light-hearted, Otherwise I wouldn't have worn on those hats and that sunglasses at all. Because, frankly, I'm not that much of an idiot. I'll never wear them again.
I'm going to let you go to the pub in 1 second, but what's it like being a sex symbol?
I don't know.
I was talking to Chris. I mean, you have made this kind of thing interesting because you've got personalities and you're half decent looking. I mean, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Crikey, I think you need to get down to an optician.
Those glasses I was wearing?
Yeah. I mean...
you're speaking for me.
I don't
know anything about that.
The thing is that you hit the nail on the head before. We don't have a script. We're not making this up. We're not faking it. We love it. We have, people come up to us on the street and go, how can we get your job? And we tell them to off. It's not a job.
I like to meet kids and I like to think, wow, one day that kid might be doing my job, because you do meet them occasionally and you think, yeah, look, there's a geek.
Yeah. Oh, there are. And it is fantastic that it's inspired people. I mean, there's someone working on this show now, one of our wildlife cameramen, Lindsay, who we met because he sent us a film about 4 years ago of badgers that he'd filmed in his garden, and he was like 14, 15, 16 at the time. We saw this film, we went away and made a little film with him. He was one of our what we call passionate people at the time. He was so fantastic. Next thing we know, he's working as a runner on the show last year. He was completely brilliant. He had Packham down to a T, took the out of his poodles non-stop, which of course we all thoroughly approved of, and he's now full-time working on the show as a wildlife cameraman, and he is, although I hope he's not listening because he'll get really big-headed, but he's brilliant. But he was a viewer. He was someone who loved the show, who loved wildlife and went, I want to do that too, and he went out and did it, and now we're able to celebrate someone who fell in love with the natural world as well.
He's just got a small problem with black fluffy dogs, but apart from that he's totally there, he's really on the ball.
Thank you very much for talking to me, and I've learnt a lot today seeing this programme. I've learnt that you keep mucky pictures under your beds of different birds.
Yeah, that's tea cards, not that mucky. I used to keep them pristinely clean. I'm pretty OCD, actually.
Thank you for talking to us. Which pub are we off to?
The one that's nearest and has the fullest glasses.
Chris and Kate, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We love you too.
Thank you.
Alex Belfield in the morning.
BBC Radio Leeds.